Glitch just released another teaser for episode 2, and these days are really good for the Amazing Digital Circus fans because we're getting content every day now. We got a whole trailer for episode 2, which helps us put the pieces together about the plot, but Glitch also shared this picture where we can see Kane presenting the circus members sitting in his hat, because either they shrunk or Kane just got really huge. And what's interesting is we're seeing Kane in the Candy Canyon Kingdom, because this picture looks like they're inside the castle and probably standing in front of the princess, and Kane just shows her the circus members to choose one of them like he would offer candy. Or what I'm thinking is that maybe the picture that Glitch showed us where we see Kane as Professor Utonium when he was creating the Powerpuff Girls, maybe that will be him creating the tiny circus members to show to Princess Lulalalu, and maybe that's not the real circus members and just little figurines of them, just so that he'll be able to fit them in his hat. But another thing that may prove me wrong is that Zooble is missing just like she was for most of the trailer, and at this point we can be pretty sure that Zooble is not gonna go to the Candy Canyon Kingdom with the others, because we saw her once in the trailer, and that was while she was still in the tent with Kane and Bubble. And so Zooble's probably gonna opt out of the adventure, which now means that apparently they can choose to do that, because I thought it was impossible for them to choose, as in episode 1 she was kidnapped by the Gloinks. And this makes me wonder if the others really wanted to go, or if they're just afraid of going and they actually did want to go, because Kane did shove all 5 of them into that portal. Or maybe Zooble gets a pass because she just never wants to go on the adventures, because if you look at Jax's face, he just looks bored. He doesn't look like he wants to go. Bro wants to chill in his room. But does this mean that Zooble just never wants to go on the adventures? She has to at least go on a few, right? Is it gonna be every single episode she doesn't go? Or maybe Kane will force her some episodes and maybe not force her some episodes? I'm not sure. But we can actually get the answer for this because Gooseworks was asked a question on Twitter. Hey Goose, where is Zooble in episode 2? I mean, why aren't they in the Candy Canyon Kingdom with the others? And she replied, Zooble hates adventures. This makes me wonder, why does she hate adventures? Maybe it's because that's how her personality is and she's more introverted, or maybe she had some bad experiences with adventures in the past and that's why she doesn't like them. It is kind of fair though, because in the previous episode she literally got kidnapped and then swallowed by the Gloink Queen. So I can understand why she has doubts about the next adventures, because maybe she doesn't get the best treatment when it comes to them. But looking at the picture that Glitch shared, I'm wondering at what point of the episode could this screenshot have happened, because we saw in the trailer that Kane teleports the circus members to the Candy Canyon Kingdom and he stays behind again. So the gang is on their own on this adventure. So maybe this could be from the end of the adventure where Kane collects them all and brings them back to the circus from the Candy Canyon Kingdom. And if this is the case, then I'm relieved to see that all the circus members are fine, because to be honest, from what we saw in the trailer, there's some crazy stuff happening to them, like Jax being depressed and sitting by himself with the tied up alligator behind him, or Pomni starting to abstract, which most people think is the nightmare that will happen at the beginning of the episode. So I'm really hoping that this teaser takes place at the end of the episode, which shows that all the characters are safe. And looking at the circus members, they're physically fine as well. Nobody's abstracted, and that could actually be because of Kane's help, because in the trailer we've seen this part where Pomni is floating down the cellar with her hand abstracted, and let's say it's not a dream, maybe she actually does get partially abstracted and Kane has to save her. But if Kane's not there during the adventure, then maybe he'd get a notification on the Wacky Watch and he would know what happened to Pomni, but then again he would have gotten a notification for Kaufmo if this was true. So it's possible that her arm does fully abstract, and maybe she's not falling down in the cellar but somewhere in the Candy Canyon Kingdom, and then Kane comes back, puts them all in the hat, and fixes the abstractions just like how he fixed Pomni and Ragatha in episode 1. And in this picture, Pomni looks scared, and if you're looking at the others, you can tell that Pomni's been in the circus for the least amount of times, because the others look so much more calm, as if they're used to Kane's random stuff like this. Jax, for example, looks straight up bored, and that's not really surprising, but still, I think in episode 2, we're gonna see a whole other side to Jax, because he's looking so lonely and sad. What is happening to Jax? Why is my boy not happy anymore? But here's the thing, Gooseworks did say that episode 2 is gonna be about depression, and what if by depression she meant Jax. What if we'll see him go through something bad, and that would mean seeing him from a whole nother perspective from what we saw in the pilot episode? Because in the pilot episode, he was kind of a jerk and quick-witted and just saying things that you would just expect from someone who never has any feelings. And so, in episode 2, we could see him be sad for the first time, and maybe something will actually happen to him. But Ragatha doesn't look too surprised in this picture. She just looks like she wants to get out of the hat. And we've actually seen Ragatha as someone who's taken responsibility for others in the trailer, like all the scenes with the princess where she's the one talking to her. And at one point, we even see her getting a gift from Princess Lololalu, which looks to be the key to the kingdom. And it makes sense because Ragatha is the most responsible out of all of them, or at least that's what we saw from the pilot episode, and I could see her sort of pulling the circus members under her wings. But looking at Gangle, we can almost see her panicking. And this also gives it away that this picture's from the later parts of the episode, because in the trailer where we saw the circus members inside the circus and even on the carriage, Gangle had her happy mask on. And for the second part of the trailer, we saw that her happy mask is gonna get broken again, because in the scene where Gangle has her binoculars out and then someone gets exploded from behind them, you could see that Gangle is sad again. And so we could tell that this will be toward the end of the episode, meaning all the characters will be okay. They will survive the adventure. And lastly, we could see Kinger. He's just being himself. It's really hard to tell based on his face how he's feeling because he just has eyes, but he looks just like before they went on the adventure. But I guess he might have gotten used to all of this because we know he has been in the circus the longest, and Jax also kind of looks used to it. But looking at Kane, he seems to be happy for the circus members. Maybe he was monitoring them from the circus, maybe he had doubts how they'll do on the adventure, or maybe he was wondering about whether or not Pomni will wander off like she did in the pilot episode, but we just don't know. And he looks satisfied with what he's done and maybe what they've done in the adventure, even though the circus members have mixed expressions on their faces. After all, they had quite the adventure where they met the princess, had to get away from Gummy Goo and the Gummy Alligators truck rally. Pomni maybe started to abstract, and also they had to deal with more emotional things which we aren't even aware of yet. But now for the question, where is Zooble and what will happen to her? It could be possible that Kane only let her stay in the circus because he was spending time with her and Bubble, and that way they could keep her company. I don't think he would let her stay in a room all alone, because that way his all-seeing eyes would have to focus on both Zooble and the others in the Candy Canyon Kingdom. So maybe he's just gonna stay back in the tent with Zooble and Bubble and just have a good time, and then the others will go on the adventure and have to complete it. Or maybe this makes Zooble even more annoyed because Zooble seems to be more of a loner and she just likes to be alone. But with Kane and Bubble especially annoying her, that might make her even more mad. But I guess we'll just have to see what happens in episode 2 as it's coming out in less than 2 weeks. But let me know down in the comments what you think's gonna happen with this teaser. Thanks for watching, subscribe, and click on this video here.